22 jobs, one at a time. This is Backlog Buster's Final Fantasy V Single Job Challenge series. The core rule is to only use the assigned job. I'll be forced to go jobless using Freelancer until the assigned job becomes available. As soon as the job unlocks, I'll switch out of Freelancer and be locked into that job for the rest of the game, for better or for worse. I'll be doing my best to see the majority of the optional content, but it's going to depend on the individual job for some of it. As an additional challenge, I'm going to try and beat the game at as low a level as possible, and to minimize grinding, though some grinding is likely inevitable. Other than that, there are no restrictions. All equipment, game mechanics, and strategies are available to beat the game and see the credits. Working through that lengthy list one by one, this time I'll be playing Red Mage in direct celebration of the boost features being added. Red Mage is a water crystal job, so we'll have to freelance it for a bit. Starting off, it's just getting the gang back together, heading up the Wind Shrine, and roasting Wing Raptor once again. Wind Crystal Shards? I don't think so. Zoc! My favorite character. Key acquired. But jobless means a brief grind sesh is in order to get some consumables and more swords and armor. Now I can head through Torna Canal to face off against Carlobos. The jobless strategy is just spamming attack and hoping for the best. An occasional potion is in order. Bye, Sildra? The ship graveyard is more of the same. Just slashing skeletons until I inevitably reach Siren. Opening with Silence, a Brainlet maneuver. Applying Protect, a Brain Lord maneuver. But I'm just slashing the first form and then spamming potions on the second form. And the fight is done before she can kill anyone. A sound victory for Wesley. Cruising down to Carwin, and you know I'm grabbing that Frost Rod. Now for new equipment. Swords, shields, and armor across the board. My wallet is completely emptied. Let's head off to the North Mountain. Classic Lena. I'm sure she dodged into the arrow this time around. This girl must have a being poisoned fetish or something. As for Magisa, she's getting the Storm of Swords. Uh-oh, Bart's got his brains sucked out. That's one Phoenix down gone. The potion spam begins. But I finally managed to get a clue, and that Frost Rod is smashed. Magisa finished without ever seeing her husband Forza. That's a big whip for me. Lena, please, I don't consent to being involved in your fetishes. Jobless plus Windrake equals a trip back to Tycoon Castle. This is all for a little backstory and exposition, but the real prizes are right here. The Container, Ashura, and the Healing Staff. The Diamond Bell can come too, I guess. New weapons for everybody in the party. It's time to save the Water Crystal. Just kidding, I actually want the Water Crystal to shatter so I can get my job. So I'll take a brief detour into Walls for the Silver Specs and some new armor. Good evening, King Walls. Oh no, the Water Crystal's gonna shatter. What are we gonna do? No, stop, wait, come back. At the Walls Tower, my new weapons crush every single encounter. Right up until Garula plods onto the scene. Garula's physical attacks and counters are no problem when you've been listening to Devo. Galuf cracks that whip, and Garula's paralyzed. Then my own barrage of physicals begins. Bart's is getting mad crits with the Ashura, and Garula's dead and buried before you know it. Finally, the Water Crystal shatters, and I can actually get my job. Red Mage's Red Magic is just low-level white and black magic. I guess they chose Red Wizard because Grey Wizard would be a little boring. Red Mages can use rods and staves, but also swords and daggers. Red Mage is truly the jack of all trades, master of none. You've got some early damage spells, healing, and melee capability. Sounds really good, and it kinda is right now, except for one simple fact. Red Mage never learns higher tier magic than the level 2 spells that you get in Karnak. That's right, as soon as you waltz into Karnak, the job has already reached its peak. The rest of the game is just an extended plateau with one incredibly minor power spike. The sad reality is that level 2 spells are just not that powerful. They're obviously an upgrade right now, but they quickly lose steam as the game progresses. Even Black Mage suffers a short lull in power while waiting for tier 3 magic. I know, it's hard to believe. But Red Mage is a mage, which means rod smashing is on the table. Smashing elemental rods is my strongest move now, and actually for the rest of the game. It's never gonna get any better than right now. Blessed be for Square patching in those boost features. Red Mage is the first job to utilize these boosts, and it will not be the last. Listen, I'm an old school JRPG grind maxer, but if I can speed up grinding, then I'm all for it. I'm gonna grind on Wild Nax with 4 times Gilgamesh on, and I'm gonna get myself a massive stockpile of elemental rods. Since smashing rods is all I've got, as a fun feature of this challenge, I'm gonna answer another question. How many smashed rods does it take to beat Final Fantasy V? But I want to play a little game. Make a prediction of how many rods you think it's going to take for me to beat Final Fantasy V using only red mages. I'll reveal the total of each type of rod smashed at every point of no return. The first at the end of Bartz's World, next at the end of Galufs World, and finally the last update when the game's over, before a final total of all the rods that I smashed throughout the entirety of the game. If you want, you can break this down by individual rod types. Make predictions for fire, thunder, frost, and the furtive poison rod, so easily forgotten. Tier 2 magic is still fine for right now, so it's useful for getting through random battles, specifically on these wild knacks that I've been grinding. But I finished my grinding session. I'm on the quest for the fire crystal, and it's right here on the fire ship. Wow, I guess red mage is the first job in these challenges to actually have traditional healing spells. That's wild. I almost forgot that they existed. Oh man, I have raise too? I'll be saving thousands of gil on Phoenix Downs. Dialing in the spells on the random battles? Alright, Blizzara it is. Red mage is definitely a weaker mage than black mage, but it's still got the power to trounce most of these random battles. And before you know it, I'm at the bottom facing off against Liquid Flame. Unsurprising to literally anyone is that I am going to smash Frost Rods to win. How many? I'll never tell. Okay, it was just one. Oh man, it's Suze! Yeah, I remembered his name. Sure hope nothing bad happens to him. Oh god, no. Fire Crystal down, but there are more pressing matters. The castle's gonna get blowed up, and I guess I need to plan for a werewolf's funeral. I'll snag a couple of chests on the way to Karnak. Oh well, that's auto-battle GG, I guess. Spamming Blizzara is good enough to get through the random battles, but for a big boy like the Elf Cape and Main Gauche, I'm thinking a Rod Smash is necessary. Must be channeling my inner Locke because I'm treasure hunting. I got every single chest in Karnak. I can't forget Esuna, and can I even use it? Nope. Why would Red Mage be able to use anything else? As for Ironclaw at the exit, you know I'm taking the easy way out. Whew, made it out, completely loaded up on crystal shards and various castle treasures. I blew through quite a few rods in this endeavor, so a trip back to Karnak to resupply sounds like the right choice. Especially since the next stop is the Ancient Library, full of book-based enemies. Everyone get a fire rod on and boost up that fire too. I think the books knew that I was coming. I got so few random battles here, it was unreal. Maybe I'm just used to playing Digital Devil Saga, where the encounter rate is maximum. Heading down the library to E-Freight, well, you know I'm breaking some ice rods right over my knee. After that, it's back to flame rods, then back down to the bottom of the library. My old nemesis Byblos. Oh, it's so dry down here, I hope nothing ignites that paper book that you're living in. Obviously, Byblos was burnt to ashes, not a shred of him left. Brainlord number 1 rescued, and I'm using him to immediately get Brainlord number 2 back to work. Personal mechanics acquired. And squatter's rights means I get to own the fire ship. It's the rules, okay? Take it up with the government. And just like that, it's gone. Ship squatted in, sailed in, and squandered in seconds. Straight to the Chocobo Forest, Heimlich maneuver performed, and some crystal shards I simply don't need at the moment. Soon, though, the horrors of Bard await. I'm flying back to the library where Sid and Mid have a genius plan. Using a thumper to call Shai Halud? Okay, guys. I will use the power of prescience to find my golden path, which is just smashing some thunder rods. I surprised you, didn't I? Bet you thought I was going to use frost rods. King Tycoon's Hide-and-Seek Masters Tournament is something I am not interested in competing in. The catapult's a silly place. Oh look, it's my fire ship. Ooh, and a new airship. Oh no, not the dastardly Crayclaw. Whatever will I do? Zap! Well, I can go anywhere that I want now, and I want to immediately go north to Black Flame Island to grind for a bit. I'm gonna need a lot of rods. Thundara boosted with Thunder Rods is an easy way to kill the Black Flames. Takes a couple of castings, but it's quick and easy EXP and gil gains. I'm using 1 times EXP, but you know that I'm at 4 times gil rate. I've got loads of gil, which immediately gets spent on more elemental rods. I also picked up 4 flame rings at Istari, just because I could. Also, I snagged the Toad spell, which I honestly can't remember if I can even use as a red mage. But based on how little spells that red mages actually get, that's probably a big no. I return now to the Brain Lords, and I need the adamantite to make my ship go even higher. Mr. Turtle, hand it over. The rods will smash everything. My ship's upgraded, and now I can tackle the floating Ronka ruins. I think this should be a breeze. Machinery is all weak to thunder. Guess what my strategy's gonna be? Oh no, not the soul cannon! I sure hope somebody doesn't smash thunder rods all over the place and win in 1 combat round. Inside the Ronka ruins, rod smashing is on hold. I'm back to actually being a wizard as I make my way to the bottom. Archaeoavis actually shouldn't be so bad for red mages. I've got okay melee and curative magic, so really I'm not worried. I've got a simple strategy. Find the elemental weakness with spells, then smash the appropriate elemental rod. Repeat through all forms until Archeoavis revives itself. Once Archeoavis revives, I need to resort to melee attacks. I know this for sure, because I had to smash one of every single rod and they each did 0 damage. At least with Cure 2 I can keep my party alive fairly painlessly. I've got Flame Ring, so unironically, Fire Rod boosted Fyras would have healed me for more, but you know what? With any kind of full party healing, even the worst melee is capable of beating Archeoavis. At which point, a meteor hit the earth! Kryl then kills Lena and Ferris's dad, and then Exdeath shows up on the scene. Man, you gotta love Final Fantasy V. The villain's introduced early, and there's no dumb plot twists. Oh no, Gorbis was the bad guy the whole time! Just kidding, it was actually Zemus, your dad's friend. Just kidding, Zemus was actually Zeromus. Nah, in Final Fantasy V, it's exactly how it should be. Only Exdeath, all the time. But back on topic, I gotta cheese it out of the wonky ronky ruins. The Earth Crystal shards are mine, but you know what? I've actually done most of these already. Galuf decides to flee back to his homeworld. This is to avoid his granddaughter, Kryl, getting arrested for murder. Honestly, can't really blame the guy. But I'm left without a party member. What's the plan, gang? Ah yes, the Brain Lords will know for sure. Final meteor tour of Bartz's world. Tycoon for the deets, then Walls for the bomb squad. Yeah, I'm thinking a rod smashing is in order, and it really was just a rod smashing. Karnak's next to face off against the Titan. Well, that was easy. Who could have predicted this? Finally, I got a clue and changed the font to Pixel. You'll be seeing the superior Pixel version of the font from now on. Chimera Brain is sucking out Sid and Mid's brains and Goem once again. I forget every time, I swear. Fire rods, Wes. At least with Cure 2, I'm not really punished for my bad plays. Not yet, anyways. It's almost time to go, but I'm not leaving Bartz's world without a massive rod restock. Once I leave, I can't restock at Karnak until the merged world. I gotta load up now and pray that I have enough rods to get through Galufs World. Now to enter the Meteor Convergence. Onward to Galufs World. And of course, rod recap number 1. To get through Bartz's world, the damage is 7 fire rods, 18 frost rods, and 21 thunder rods. I whiffed a few rods during random battles, but mostly I just used them in boss fights. But now, I'm starting up part 2 in Galufs World. I'm tired, boss. I'll use a tent. Oh no. No, Exdeath, it wasn't me who killed King Tycoon. I've been wrongfully accused. Galuf resorts to breaking me out of prison before I spill my guts on the truth. Jailer Gilgamesh gets absolutely obliterated with a fire rod. I'm strutting straight down the big bridge. Nothing's stopping this escape from happening. But Fire 2's still working a treat, for right now. As for Gilgamesh 2, well, the first phase is a snap. The second phase he casts Shell and that really cuts my damage output. But at the end of the day, Gilgamesh is simply a lowly Dragooner. Losing is hard-coded into their class design. After being barrier blasted, the long trek to the next town ain't so bad. Except auto battle was on. Classic Wes, I'm burning through rods left and right. New spells are available now, but the question is, can Red Mage actually use them? The answer may surprise you, and it's of course a big fat no. I told you Red Mage peaked in Karnak. It's never going to get any better. I can get some new armor and weapons, but more than likely I'm spamming magic. Or getting into random battles and burning rods from Cursor Memory Auto Battle. Nice going there, Past Wes. Oh hey, a Moogle. Let's follow it. Yeah, nice call, Lena. Well, at this point, smashing rods is not an accident, it's a choice. I burned more fire rods going through this river rafting segment than the entirety of World 1. As for that dinosaur, well, one rod smash leads to Galuf eating a question mark, which instantly kills him. But a follow-up rod smash and it's over. Why would John Hammond do this? Inside the Moogle Forest, I'll take the usual goods. I shan't be using the Dancing Dagger. I've had enough dancing for one lifetime in Final Fantasy V. Elf capes are good, but I'm flame ringed up. Oh god, it's Kryl! She's back to finish the job! No, please! Oh, she's giving me a ride. Inside Castle Ball, there's a secret to discover. No, not that Galuf's actually a king. It's more to do with the object darts in the basement. Red Magic caps it at level 3, but the 4th and final Red Mage skill requires a whopping 999 ability points. That's a lot. It had better be worth it. But I can set my ability points to 4 times rate. The statues in the Castle Ball basement easily died to either a Smash Thunder Rod or a well-placed Soft. I can max out Red Mage relatively painlessly this way. Honestly, it didn't take that long at all. This was only like 10 minutes or so at 16 to 32 ability points a pop. Blessed be for the boost features and a massive amount of Thunder Rods. That's Dualcast learned on everybody, an ability that's mediocre as heck on Red Mage, but insanely busted on Black or White Mage. It's also probably ridiculous on a Time Mage too now that I think about it. Dualcast and Cure 2s will be decent for sustaining myself. Dualcasting level 2 elemental spells is still a lot weaker than a simple Rod Smash though. The Windrake is made of tissue paper, so I need to get some grass from a mountain. You can't make this up. The Abductor jumps me, but you know how this ends. Oh yeah, it's Kelb. I can't wait to meet Kelgar of the Dawn Warriors. Then I get to listen to his cool backstory. God, I love the Dawn Warriors so much, it's unreal. Kelb has poison rods. I will purchase some. New rod added to smashable inventory. Drakenvale is generally pretty easy, but I'm smashing my way to the top regardless. Yes, it's a big rod tax, but I'm engaging the speed force. Flame rods are getting smashed, even on single cats. For Red Mage, the bone mail is a big yes. I can even use it since I grinded for flame rings. That being said, probably not going to get a ton of usage out of the bone mail. At the peak, the grass is alive? 1 rod, 2 rod, 3 rod, 4. How many more is it gonna take? Oh, it took 7. Okay, 7 it is. Now to just rod smash my way back down the mountain, and I really do mean rod smash too, because oh my god, that was a lot of rods. Back to ball, and I'm grabbing my free moat greatsword. Not that I really need it, I'm just being frugal. Kryle's so guilt-ridden that she can't get out of bed. Serves you right, you murderer. Now the Windrake must eat his greens. Are you sure we should be feeding the Drake, like, meat or something? And Lena just can't help herself. I'm not gonna tell you again, woman, keep your fetishes to yourself. The grass was enough nourishment apparently, but I bet he'd really like to eat some turtle meat. Looks like Sage Guido engaged the anti-hunting measures. Oh well, maybe next time. Take me to Zaza's Yacht Club once again. That place is always bumpin'. I have not forgotten how far Zaza's dropped on my favorite character tier list though. I'm gonna snooze and be rudely awoken by Gilgamesh and some low-level goblins. Gilgamesh puts up an admirable fight, which means he ate 4 frost rods before Enkidu showed up. Rats. Rod status taxed, and it's everyone's favorite part, entering Zaza's homemade submarine. I want you all to know this right now. There's another billionaire going down to the ruins of the Titanic to prove that it's safe. Gotta love billionaires. Yeah, go ahead and prove it's safe and a thriving business model. I definitely won't be using it as meme material for my next videos. Oh man, now that I think about it, the only thing missing from my life is $1 billion. Anyways, into the barrier tower, which usually comes equipped with a massive grind session. Looks like Reflect Knights reflect smash rods, so no thanks, I'm good, see you later, bye. What are these people running from? They're not. They're running to the top of the barrier tower. It's Atmos. Atmos is weak to bios, so you can take a wild guess what I'm gonna use. That's right, the poison rods that I bought from Kelb. Can I kill Atmos before Galuf gets slurped into a dimension of unspeakable cosmic horror? Looks like the answer was a big yes. Man, everybody and everything in this game is getting blowed up. Later, Zaza, I will be taking your submarine. But how did the gang get back down here after the tower collapsed? A plot hole? This is where Final Fantasy V's plot completely lost me. It makes absolutely no sense how they got back into the submarine. I will become the Submariner, and submarine myself around in the eternal quest for more delicious turtle meat. I hate Sage Guido's cave so much. It instills a violent rage in me. Fortunately, Sage Guido offered me an olive branch, and I'm leaving. Hey, a turtle that good? You can't eat it all at once. Submarine on my way to Mary Moore. Normally, my favorite place to be in Galufs World for the tier 3 spells, but as a red mage, I can't use them. It's just some new armor upgrades, a couple of useless air knives, a second main gauche, and tears across the board for what I could have had. Just imagine getting level 3 spells and not being forced to rewatch your entire playthrough and tally up every single rod you used. Just imagine. No use crying over spilled milk. Let's mosey on down to the forest. Sure hope nobody's being irresponsible about fire safety down here. Smokey's gonna be pissed, you guys. I have to grab my Aegis shield, it's a compulsion. I also grabbed the Morning Star. Surprisingly, Red Mage can equip this. Now it's just a matter of waiting out the forest fire with my Moogle friends. Well, forest is ruined. Good work, everybody. But it's time for my other nemesis, the crystals. You'll never see this strategy coming. I'm actually going to use Red Mage abilities. Dualcast Protect. What? Since I have flame rings on, I'm going to focus the top crystal down to 50% health. That will stop its barrage of physical attacks and will start unleashing Firagas on my party, which I will absorb with my flame rings. With Protect on and getting bombarded with Fire 3s to keep me up, this fight is totally free. I can just auto-attack my way to victory. Very, very slowly. I wouldn't call the Morning Star good, but it's definitely pulling its weight. It's a lot stronger than the main gauches, and back row, okay. Crystal 1 falls, then Crystal 2, then the Bat Crystal, and finally I take out the Fire Crystal. He was acting as the mole on my team the whole time. Oh my god, what? They were crystals this whole time? Oh no, I was tricked! Had! Bamboozled even! I'm not gonna waste a rod for the scripted scene. Oh god, that damage is just atrocious though. Galuf is so embarrassed by his performance that he just can't handle it and dies from cringe. Well, somebody's gotta wear the fabulous red hat with the feather in it. Kryl, get in here, you filthy murderer. I'm off to Exdeath's castle. Give her the classic one pump in and out, and Bob's your uncle. It's horrors beyond human comprehension. There's absolutely nothing here that I care about as a red mage. I'm just rip-roaring and rod smashing all the way to the top. Level 30 is a lot lower than most jobs at this point in the game. Dualcast is also proving to be extremely useful, especially when you're back attacked and getting harassed by angry red rabbits. Dualcasting Rise into Dualcasting Cure 2 kept me alive until I could finally escape. Pretty brutal going up Exdeath's spooky ghost castle, but reaching the top is inevitable. I will, of course, be attacking Gilgamesh. He stole my Excalibur after all. I wasted an exorbitant amount of Thunder Rods on Gilgamesh, but you know what? A restock is just around the corner. Gilgamesh was just the appetizer before the main course, Exdeath himself. Yeah, sure, doom me immediately. Cool. I'm playing super safe here, dual casting Protect on my whole team. In the back row with Protect, I should be totally safe from physicals and vacuum waves. But now I'm in the front row. Great. Oh well, relentless smashing of frost rods, let's go. Protect is being the real MVP here. It's neutering the onslaught of vacuum waves. Really doesn't matter if I can't heal a lot if I'm taking half damage from physicals. Before long and without much resistance honestly, Exdeath is rod smashed to death. I find myself in a familiar place, and a perfect time for a World 2 rod roundup after a Boobarts moment. In World 2 I used 36 fire rods, a whopping 89 frost rods, 85 thunder rods, and 22 poison rods. Those rod smash numbers really start to get inflated when you're smashing rods just to get through random battles, let me tell ya. Back on task, a classic Merged World start of taking Boko away from his pregnant wife and crossing the river only to get ambushed by the Antlion. The rod smashing of World 3 begins now. I've been holding off using fire rods specifically for Melusine and the Pyramid of Mor, but my stockpile of other rods is looking pretty grim. Oh well, the title match is starting. It's regular Turtle versus evil Warlock Exdeath. I'm putting money on Exdeath this time. Woohoo! Alright, mission brief. Get the tablets so I can get the weapons so I can defeat Exdeath once and for all. I mean, can't I just go back to Karnak and buy more rods and smash them? No? Okay, fine, I'll go get the tablets, fine. It's rod smashing for days. I have to dip into my flame rod stockpile. 3 rods later though, and those gargoyles are donezo. The Pyramid of Mor is full of goodies, but nothing I actually really care about. I got jumped by a mecha head, so I'm using the last of my thunder rods to break on through. As for the Pharaoh's Curse, well, undead fear fire. Dipping pretty heavy into my stockpile, but I made it to the top and snagged the tablet. Oh no, did I just free the Dragon King Bahamut and he's gonna terrorize the world? Nah, couldn't have been me. Ooh, my airship, let's head back there. Lena, did you poison yourself again? Oh my god, thank god. She's just possessed by a demon. Windrake attack! Quick, Swarmer! Thankfully, Melusine's barrier change mechanic has one critical flaw, and that's that she always starts the battle weak to fire damage. Sounds like flame rods are go. Bartz did a little bit of a whoopsie and threw out a thunder rod, but before you know it, it's all over. Flame smashed to death before she could ever barrier change. Just the way I like my Melusine fights. Quick and easy. Lena's back in, the gang's back together, and I've got my airship, which means I can finally tackle Exdeath in the Interdimensional... Just kidding, I'm straight back to Karnak. It's been a minute since I restocked on rods, and my supplies are looking dangerously low. Yeah, I'll take them all, please. Hashtag blessed that Exdeath didn't slurp up Karnak, otherwise this would have been a serious problem. Now for standard Merged World shenanigans. Down south to Phantom Village. Thief Knife snagged on the way down to free the Black Chocobo. Then a trip to the Northern Desert is in order, as usual. My levels are dangerously low, but I'm more interested in some economical footwear. I'm gonna pay less for shoes at the Phoenix Tower. Feels great that I can use rods with reckless abandon now. I was genuinely a little afraid of running out in Galufs World. I grinded here for a bit with no luck on Hermes sandals. But you know, there's always time for even more elemental rods at Karnak. Then I returned to the tower. This time I did have a lot more luck, but I grinded up so many battles that I used up my entire stockpile of fire rods. At 2 rods a battle, that runs the stockpile down real quick. Oh well, resorting to frost. I managed to get my hands on both 4 pairs of Hermes sandals and 4 reflect rings this time around. Now it's back to Phantom. Oh, you know what? I may as well just do the North Mountain now since I'm here. Gotta get some use out of those reflect rings. At the top, here's the Dragon King himself. Reflect rings on my party and let's see what you got, Dragon King. Or DK for short. He's finally back to kick some tail. Oh god, this is horrifying. He's doing absolutely nothing. Okay, Maelstrom, that shouldn't be a problem. Physical attacks? What is going on? Quick, Dualcast raise. Works every time. What, more physicals? Where's the Mega Flare spam? Finally, there it is. After a truckload of rod smashes, I'm done with Bahamut. Mountaineering is a silly task, let's skedaddle. Back to Phantom Village to finally stock up. New magical boosting armor will actually be helpful for rod smashing, believe it or not. I need some accessories, and I already have 4 pairs of Hermes sandals, which are the best accessory in the game, granting permanent haste and a plethora of status immunity. I'll also take some coral rings for the road. Well, specifically for Leviathan and Twintania. Done with Phantom Village, I guess I'll head back to Karnak to restock on more rods. Yeah, give me a lot of them. I really don't want to come back, but I know I'm going to. Flying around, I notice the sealed castle of Kuza. I gotta drop this tablet down, and what 3 weapons do I want? Well, I can actually use the Sage's Staff, so sure, get in here. The Magus Rod boosts all 3 main elements, so sure, get in here. Finally, the Assassin's Dagger, of course. What else would I take? Damn, is Red Mage really the first job that can actually take and use 3 weapons? You know what? It really is. Oh no, not the horrific monsters of the Rift. I wonder what that red guy's all about. I could fight shield dragons with my reflect rings on, but get me the heck out of here, the island shrine calls. 2 rods smashed and those gargoyles will bother me no longer. Left switch, finally getting a clue. There's nothing worth my time down here, so it's straight to the bottom for the Wendigo. Of course, I'm smashing rods on every random battle along the way. Hermes sandals trivialize the Wendigo's main attack, Mind Blast, but I opted to wear flame rings this time around. This is specifically because I fully intend to continue smashing rods, my only strategy. Target all spells are countered with Frost. 3 times, in fact, from all of Wendigo's clones. Frost is completely negated by the flame rings, so I really can't die. It's only a matter of time before I inevitably win by smashing rods all over Wendigo's face. The Hermes sandals are back on, and I'm sprinting straight out of the island shrine. The Fork Tower calls. I can actually kill Omniscient non-cheesy this time, so no red loser stamps for me. I'm sending Bartz and Ferris up the right side. Bartz has a main gauche, and Ferris has the valuable Assassin's Dagger. But it turns out that Lena's going solo, apparently. Smart play by Past West. Kryle's also got a main gauche on, and she's up the physical tower with the boys. Lena's just running from everything all the way to the top. With a reflect ring on, she's basically invincible. I did get stuck in a battle, though. Dualcast Fyra, show me your power. Oh man, that's just beautiful. Get me out of here. Anyways, the girl gets it done, and it's time for the other team. Red Mage Melee is not good, so I'm doing my darndest to just get to the top to fight Minotaur as soon as possible. This trip up was painful. I just couldn't run away from battles fast enough. This led to some very sloggy encounters. At least I have Cure 2 to heal myself in between them. I finally made it to the top. Minotaur is probably gonna suck, especially since I forgot I could just smash some rods. I've got 2 attackers with 1 dedicated high potion chucker, and Minotaur dies the same as he always does. I really should have just resorted to smashing rods though. Gotta remember that for next time. This fight took absolutely forever. Ah, the Holy Spell. Sure, I'm glad that Red Mage can't use higher tier magic, otherwise this run might have had something other than rod smashing in it. As for Omniscient, well, Lena's Reflect Ring basically makes her immune to damage. Now it's just a matter of using Dualcast Fyra boosted with the Fire Rod to roast Omniscient extremely slowly. This is truly an all-day barbecue session. 350 damage a cast, this is really gonna suck. And before you ask, Omniscient counters Smash Rods with Return. You can't use it on him. Gotta resort to Lowly Fire too. Oh god, I'm really gonna have to do it too. Lena's poisoning fetish has turned into a crippling addiction to ether. But afterwards it's back to the barbecue. This strategy beats waiting around for 16 hours, but this was still extremely tedious and very annoying. I don't think I've ever been more grateful to see Flare come out. Red Mages finished the tower legitimately though, and that's credit where credit is due. Back to full rod smashing setups, lads. Then it's into the catapult to see Sid and Mid, the Brain Lords. Make me a submarine. Istri Falls calls, but first, that's right, I need to restock my elemental rods in Karnak. Now let's go to Istri. Gargoyles get flame rods smashed to pieces, as if there was any other choice at this point. Istri's getting absolutely roasted with flame rods all the way down to the tablet. At which point, I will swap to coral rings and thunder rods. Aw yeah, red guy, let's see what he's all about. Oh yeah! Leviathan is a boss of all time with a party full of coral rings. I absorb Tidal Wave, which is his only threatening attack. Smashing Thunder Rods also does absurd damage. Cryo got focused down before a Tidal Wave came to heal her, but oh well, you can't win them all too easily. Bottom of History falls down, all that's left is the Undersea Trench. But first, Boko, I've neglected you. A chocobo ride to the top of History Falls and the magic lamp is mine. Always useful, and I will always abuse its power in these runs. Thanks for the ride back to my ship. Now you can go home to your family there, buddy. Now for the Undersea Trench. Everything down here's undead, and well, that sounds like a job for smashing fire rods, don't it? Easily my most smashed rod at this point. Oh right, there's another set of gargoyles down here to tackle, I almost forgot. 2 more rods for these clowns. The Undersea Trench is a massive rod tax, but I'm happy to pay it to get through these battles in 2 turns. Actually, having healing magic helps a ton to weather the chip damage from that lava too. Definitely nice to have. Glad I'll never have it again until the very end of these challenges with White Mage. Oink oink oink, roll onto the scene. Listen, I've been smashing rods this whole time, no way that I'm stopping now. Flame Rod, let's go. Never mind, Magic Lampet, Mega Flare, Tsunami, and the big deadly Zantetsuken. Pig that good, you really do gotta eat all at once. My collection's complete. It's time to get the heck out of here, after refueling the lamp, of course. Finally back topside after smashing a bajillion rods. No Logitech controller's gonna keep my submarine down. I'm flying through this game, and I'm flying straight back to Jackal's cave. Spelunking all the way to a familiar place. As for Odin, well, Hermes Sandals plus Thunder Rod smashing makes short work of him. Done with 23 seconds to spare. Let me just unlock this door real quick. I am the master of unlocking after all. That's basically all of the optional content done. Sure, I could go get mine from Gogo, but really I'm just gonna stand around, so who cares? What you do know is that I'm going back to Karnak for another rod restock. I'm burning through all of these rods faster than they can build them. I am a bit underleveled though, so I'm tuning up in the North Desert. A very quick grind with boost. Not gonna lie, I'm definitely loving these boost features. One final restock on as many elixirs as I can get, and even more rods at Karnak. Now it's finally time to tackle the Interdimensional Rift. Final dungeon and a final hurrah to rod smashing. I've got no need for treasures. I'm just running straight through the desert, factory, and forest to reach that mysterious, but oh so familiar looking tree. Crystal-loving woman sighted. I actually came prepared with physical weapons equipped because Calofisteri instantly casts Reflect on herself. And she instantly reflects Bart's Assassin Dagger death proc, dude. Nice. This is gonna be a joyous battle, I can tell. Slowly whittling her HP down tiny slivers at a time. I'm getting flashbacks, man. At least with Red Mage, curing myself from all the drain counters is on the table. This is a very long and drawn out fight, but the Thief Knife and that Moor Forest Morningstar actually paid off. I don't think I've ever had a worse fight versus Calofisteri in my life. This was downright terrible. Right up until Ferris gets a reflected reflect cast on her. Now I have some damage potential. Dualcast Thundara's Let's Go. Oh joy, 255 damage a cast. This is only marginally better than physically attacking, but at least I'm not getting hit with drain counters while this happens, which means I can actually win now. And of course I do win, because I just resorted to smashing rods because her reflect wore off at some point, I guess. Good old smashing rods never fails. Calofisteri was painful. Reflect is just brutal versus my setup. Through the caves, it's Thunder Rod smashing all the way to the bookstore. Oh look, a paper nerd! Get burninated! The panda didn't even get an attack off, which is absolutely fine by me. Now I will continue rod smashing my way into the castle and then down into the dungeons. That's right, Azumagia. I'm your Huckleberry. Nothing to worry about in here. I'm smashing Thunder Rods all day. Oh no, level 2 ult hit everyone? Well, that's not a problem because look at that, he's already dead. He was always dead. He's never been more dead. Save point used and abused. It's time for Catastrophe. I did eat an Earthshaker, but 7 smashed Thunder Rods is all it takes. Haste is making these fights extremely tolerable, by the way. Oh, a big smooch just for me. Oh, it's Ramu? Good old auto battle. That's 2 wasted Thunder Rods that I'm never getting back. Quick, Frost Rod swap. Oh look, it's Halicarnassus, aka Disgusting Monster. Riveted, of course. Well, maiden kisses all around. Really should have tested if red mages were allowed to use Toad. Anyways, the rod smashing fiesta begins again. Oh, what a surprise. She's dead before she does anything else. The power of hasted rod smashing in Final Fantasy V, everybody. Oh well, let's hit up Twintania. Reflect rings on, let's get to smashing. Ah, come on. Rod smashing counts as physicals for a tidal wave counter. Wasn't gonna get through this run without a modicum of resistance. Let's swap to coral rings and do that all over again. Woof. 17 frost rods smashed later. Twintania's no threat at all. Any of his spells are negated by my constant rod smashing, triggering tidal wave counters. This is it. The final stretch. The crystal dimension. This is the point where I stop fighting everything and I just go for broke. Except for Gilgamesh, of course. Rod smashing him one last time. 4 rods and he's donezo. As for Necrophobe, well, I just don't have a good solution for Necrophobe. My best option, unironically, is not to even bother. Skipped? I'm level 46 and I've got an entire inventory full of rods. Let's boogie, X-Death. Hey, they stop sucking up the world. We're trying to have a fight, remember? Aw, hell yeah, it's the Dawn Warriors. I love those guys. And Lena's dad, I guess. Kryl, you should really apologize for what you did to him. In the battle, Old Faithful, Fire Rods. Show me your power once again. Oh, right, I totally forgot about White Hole. At least I can use Dualcast to raise them up and then start getting protects on everybody. Cura still sucks, but Dualcasting it is about the same as a party-wide high potion, so I guess it could be worse. I've got Protect up on the whole gang. The true rod smashing begins now. Holy hurts as usual, but Bartz is back up and healed nicely with Dualcast Raise Cura. X-Death really doesn't have much left in him as I shatter even more flame rods over my knee. I managed to skip the meteor spamming phase, that's great. No! Void! Why? Neo X-Death rolls onto the scene and my strategy starts the same as usual. Ripping 3 charges on the magic lamp. Mega Flare followed by Tsunami into Zantetsuken and goodbye Lady in the Back. We hardly knew ye. Bartz needs a Protect backup and here comes the Flame Rod spamming. But it doesn't take long before Almagust comes out. Dualcast Raise into Cura is definitely feeling better than I expected it to. Dualcast Cura is also surprisingly effective when I don't even have 2000 health. More Flame Rods smashed, what else is new? And here comes Grand Cross, and what's the damage? Death and Berserk are pretty bad, but Poison and a Whiff, I will take that every day of the week. Man, Protect really is nuts in Final Fantasy V. It's absolutely neutering most of the incoming physicals and vacuum waves. Seeing a 500 damage vacuum wave, man, it's like opening presents on Christmas morning. But before you know it, it's all over. Red Mages rod smash their way through the entire game with very little resistance. That's Final Fantasy V completed using exclusively Red Mages. Hey, don't do the transition just yet. You probably want to know about the Merged World Rod recap, don't ya? Here's the damage. An absolutely staggering 288 Fire Rods, a fairly conservatively sized 60 Frost Rods, and 172 Thunder Rods. I used 0 Poison Rods in World 3. Truly furtive and easily forgotten. Now you can get that victory stamp and hit that transition, baby. Red Mage Only was completed at level 46 in 10 hours, 15 minutes, and 28 seconds. Downright quick thanks to all those boost mechanics, but the real question to answer, just how many rods did this whole endeavor actually take? The answer is 331 Fire Rods, 167 Frost Rods, 280 Thunder Rods, and 22 Poison Rods, for a grand total of exactly 800 rods smashed. Couldn't have planned it better myself. So there's your answer. If you want to beat Final Fantasy V, just make sure you get 800 rods and smash them all and you can win easily. I know a lot of you guys don't like it when I smash rods, so I'm sorry if this run was a bit dull. The unfortunate reality here is that this is really the best way to play Red Mage. Smashing rods as soon as you get to Karnak remains the dominant strategy throughout the entire game. Red Mage is also the first job to utilize the boost mechanics that Square patched in, which means from now on the times are going to be a lot faster. If I ever feel the need to grind, I'm playing at 4 times rates, which means the playtime should be significantly lower for all jobs post the initial 7. Well, outside of a couple of truly obnoxious jobs, of course. Red Mage just doesn't function that well in Final Fantasy V. In future iterations of Final Fantasy, they start giving Red Mage a much more unique identity. It's usually characterized as a superior buffer, debuffer, and it gets its own unique red magic spells instead of just applying low-tier white and black magic and being able to use a sword. Dualcast is best used on a fully fledged mage. Black mage or white mage as well, twice as strong with Dualcast. More turns equals more gooder in turn-based games, who would have thunk it? There's really no reason to use a red mage after World 1. If you want to train up Dualcast, sure, it's strong, but Final Fantasy V's endgame is honestly very manageable with a lot of job setups, and Dualcast is almost always complete overkill. Red Mage really just has no niche, and as a result is pretty underwhelming in Final Fantasy V. But that's really all I've got to say about Red Mage in Final Fantasy V. I hope you enjoyed this rod-smashing odyssey. Thanks for watching, and you can join me again next time because my love for you is like a truck.